You ever get that feeling going live where you're never sure if you're live correctly or if anybody can see or hear you? Where here we are. That's where I'm at with this stuff right now. So, welcome to the live stream, the live video, and then to be recorded video. You get this awkward moment in live where nobody is potentially watching or listening, but they're also going to watch on a replay, which is where we are now. So, one of the reasons I'm doing this is we're using restream.io to go thin, and Preet is the first one in here, which is very kind of him. Thank you, Preet. Good to see you here. And so we're just testing out some things in this world. So I'm going to talk to you about viral marketing and analytics and where our kind of specialty is, and how all this stuff works. Is it's pretty basic. That there's data and analytics, and then there's actually what the goal is. So before anything wants to go viral, you got to make sure that you realize what you want. Why do you want to go viral? Why do you want things to go and explode? Because also, I'll tell you the story one day of when I went viral and wasn't ready for it, and it cost me pretty much everything. Well, that's a story for another day. But what I want to talk to you today about is analytics and data, and where we're going to go with that, and what third circle is, and where we can go with that. So I'm going to bring you in here. So there's a video that went viral of mine a while ago on Facebook. This is a couple of years ago now, and I was using a clip. So my world of public speaking is really easy to kind of transfer over to the digital world, because they're built-in clips, and these things, they can go viral if you cut them right, if you use them right. But there's also other things and how we present them on each medium, and this is where my fault was. So I have this clip where I put up on the unmarketing page on Facebook, which is streaming right now there actually. So what happens here is we put a video clip up, and it's one of my millennial bits, and don't worry, millennials watching right now, it looks like I'm hating on millennials, and then halfway through the bit I flip it, and I'm not actually hating on millennials. I'm actually hating on everybody, because every single generation hates the younger generation. It's just how it works. And we went back to like 54 BC to find quotes and clips of people hating on people that are younger than you. So, and that's a whole nother day and a whole nother video as well. So with this clip we put out here, and at the time on the Unmarketing Facebook page, we had about 50,000 followers at the time, give or take. And we put the video out there. We clipped it. We closed captioned it. We put the SRC file up as well. And we put it out there. And I'm just like, I know it's a good bit. And because one of the nice things about being a speaker at that time is when the audience gives you immediate feedback. So when audience after audience after audience laughs at a bit that you've got in your talk, you've field tested it. It works. But the difference, though, in delivering this stuff digitally is a third circle concept. And I'm going to get into that concept at the end of explaining all this and what that means and why you've got to focus on a different circle than I think you're actually focusing on. So this clip went out, and the bit's it's pretty simple. It's like, millennials in the audience, put your hands up, and then I feign surprise that there's actually millennials in the audience. And I'm like, so I'm going to translate what us older people mean when we say the term millennials, which is people younger than us, and we don't like you. That's what that means. And I know it's, hey, but that's the joke. And there's a pause, and the audience was so good. This is at the PRSA annual conference, one of my favorite audiences I've ever spoken to. The crowd was crazy good. The audience was mic'd up perfectly, and there was one woman in the crowd that you figure was just at the greatest a church gathering ever. She was just, it was a hallelujah moment for her. And I wish that she was in the audience for all the gigs because of how much she was screaming and keeling over laughing. But that's what a speaker wants, because one thing with the speaker video is, if you are funny, if you have humor, you want to be able to show that and have that coming out in the audio of the audience. And we forget to do a room mic or a mic that picks up a lot of that sound too. And that's the key, because when somebody wants to bring you in to speak, what they're trying to do is transfer that audience feeling from the one they're watching to their event. And so that's one of the things that made this perfect. It was a great size event, about 4,000 people. Anyway, so we put the clip up on Facebook. Okay, on the Facebook page. And I'm like, and go viral, and you click it, and off it goes. And it got a reach of about 250,000 people. Now, 250,000 people is nothing to sneeze at. It's great. It's a multiple of 5 of the page itself. 50,000 people on the page, 250,000 people it reached. but it gets misleading. But also, and I'll get to the misleading in a second, but one of the things was I was a little bit cheesed because it wasn't getting the reach I thought it deserved. Now, we all have our own healthy egos about our own content usually, and especially us in the speaking world, we really, love seeing ourselves a lot of times on stage. But I watched comparable videos, and I used to have a viral video company and looked at comparative analytics and how that all works. And I knew it wasn't catching. It just wasn't catching. It was catching with the people who've seen me before and knew me, and then it dropped off. And that was hitting my first circle. And again, I'll explain that in a minute. But it was hitting, they were liking it, and then it died. Hitting it, died. Hitting it, died. Well, one of the things is that reach means, mostly nothing, right? It's about, resonating with people. And so when you look at this, we changed one thing. We realized on Facebook, especially where we were sharing it, we have to stop the scroll. Okay. So a video play counts with, 3 seconds of it playing on Facebook. But you got to stop the thumb scroll, and you want to get them to click. You want to get them to engage, whether that's turning the volume on or just focus on it versus just kind of endlessly scrolling. And we realize that the people who don't know me and don't know my talks also have no idea what I'm talking about. They just think it's another angry millennials type of thing, which it was in the bit. But we realized we had to stop the thumb scroll. So the exact same video, the exact same video as this. We used it, same clip, same everything else, but I had it letterboxed by the team at Atomic Spark Video, a great team here in Ontario, in Kitchener. And so all I did was say, I want you to letterbox this one phrase, what old people mean when they say millennials, right? That catches attention. Now, what you don't want is clickbait when it comes to them watching your video. It's one of the worst things. That's not new. Clickbait has been around for forever. Okay, clickbait's been around for. We had clickbait before. Was that? It was just buy a newspaper because the headline was misleading. Well, this is the point. Is so I'm trying to get a drive curiosity in it. So the goal is to every single second. Okay, so they're going to stop it. They're going to what? They'll read the headline. They're going to go, okay, what's this jackass going to say about this type of thing? Or that you also get the people on the side of older people, and they're like, yeah, let's watch what this guy's saying too. Why does he have a man bun? That's so weird. And then they mock that, or the tattoos and the man bun and the beard, and it goes on and on. So we sent the exact same clip, okay, out a month later to this same audience, to those of you that are watching right now on the Unmarketing page. So we sent out the exact clip, same duration, same everything, same audio. We just letterbox it like that. Okay, and that went from 250,000 views to what we see here, which is 32 million reach, 13 million views. But I'm not done here. Okay, this is not the big reveal. This looks good, right? To a lot of us, you're like, oh, that's a great reach, and it was. It's one of the best reaching videos we've had on Facebook. But the reach isn't what's important here. Okay, we want data that drives the needles of the metrics that matter either to us or our clients or our boss or our business. And so the goal for this video, the goal for any of the videos that we put out of me speaking is a few things. One, we like making people laugh. It's a wonderful thing, making people smile, making people laugh, and it resonates with them. And any emotion you pull out of somebody means it's resonating, but that could be, it's funny, it's sad, it's angry, and I'll show you a couple of those reactions in a second. So why does it look like I'm wearing a turtleneck, by the way? I'm not wearing a turtleneck. It's just the beard and the cut. Anyways. So here's the reach and there's the views, but this doesn't count because Facebook counts views as anything over, again, 3 seconds. So reach means it was put into somebody's newsfeed, into their timeline. A view is over 3 seconds. And I don't know about you, but I don't count 3 seconds as anything. Like it's a whiff. It's like if you ever walk by somebody's room or in a workplace back in the day, and you walk by their cubicle and you're like, did they fart? I don't know. Did Jeff fart? And you just walk by. That's a whiff. Okay, that's 3 seconds. That's not resonating. That shouldn't even count, right? As opposed to somewhere on like YouTube where 30 seconds, or if the video is under 30 seconds, the entirety of the video counts as a view. Those are metrics that I can do. Plus, on YouTube, a lot of the views, not all of them, but most of the views are destinational. They wanted to watch that one. They clicked on it. Unless you're just going through that chain of just auto playing the next video. It's destinational. Well, Facebook is more serendipity. Facebook's more what's ever in my news feed necessarily. Facebook isn't a huge kind of search-based type of thing as opposed to a YouTube view. So a view to a view isn't equal metrics. So you got to watch for that. But here's where I want to get into really where it goes to. So this is just the fun kind of the analytics that we had here, where we look at all the different things where it comes to all the emotions. That what I don't understand in this one is I made 151 people angry. And it's funny to see the comparison on the people on the post itself versus on the sharing, on where if I made people a lot more angry who weren't connected with me originally in the first circle or not. But here's where I want to get into the actual numbers. So we start digging down deeper into like Facebook's analytics, and you start looking at things like, okay, video performance in this post. And none of this matters. None of this. This is irrelevant. This is vanity metrics up here. This one is where we're starting to get some good metrics. This is the 10-second or more views. We're there. Okay, we're getting there. That's one of the key metrics. And you want to be able to have comparative metrics to where you have all your videos like this, because you want to be able to move that needle. And I'm going to tell you about the needle that we did or did not move in a second. But click on that 10-second views, and then we see those 10-second views with sound on is 3.4 million views. Okay, that's the key here. Okay, so that was the key here, was that because the goal of the video really in our business, where my business is my metric is people inquiring about me speaking at their event. That was the key thing that would drive it. Okay, that's where it would drive, where the analytics, which is a request for information on speaking. So this got 3.4 million views with the sound on over 10 seconds. And that's more of a metric we're starting to look at here, because people want to see the experience of speaking. Well, take a guess, out of 3.4 million views over 10 seconds with sound on, how many inquiries we got for speaking, for gigs? And the answer is 0. Okay. Now we put out another video, which is just a trailer for my speaking, put out by Luminary Productions, and it got 4,000 views over 10 seconds with sound on. And you know how many speaking inquiries we got from that? 14. That's the difference. Okay, so that's the difference when it comes to what metric we actually want. Now, mind you, doing this, it was still a success when it comes to people enjoyed it or they laughed, and it helped for sure. But it's the metrics that we want to be able to move, the actual needles we want. Now, if you have a client, if you have a boss who just wants the vanity metrics, who like views, who like looking and telling their competitors, hey, we got more views than you, then go on and do it. But I'm talking about you and how you want to grade your videos, your metrics. And I want to explain how this goes. Okay, I want to explain that we have to look at a thing that is about why and where things are going. So I'm going to give you an example here of, I'm going to pull this in here. So when it comes to circles, this is how viral works. This is our third circle kind of setup that we do explaining viral. So the U is, well, it's me, but it's you too. So the U is when you send out your content, and that first circle, it hits. So this is also how algorithms work, and on most platforms they serve out your content. It could be the photo, it can be text, it can be a link, or it can be a video that you natively uploaded to the social media site of your choosing. When you put it out, they select people in your first circle to go see it, and it's the same thing. So if it resonates with them and they share it, that's a good thing. That's always a good thing. But here's where we would start losing the momentum on that original video we sent out, is the second circle. Now, the reason why we lose that momentum is called conditional sharing. Now, people share things conditionally all the time. You do. I do. I don't mean conditionally meaning I'm only going to share this if I get an affiliate payment, or I'm only going to share this if I get, because I like the person, or I want to be in favor with them, or whatever. Or I'm looking for a promotion and my boss just did something, or whatever. Or I'm sharing something because it's a client that did it as well. And that's the difference. So it's the unconditional sharing, meaning sharing content for the sake of the content itself, is where the second circle kicks in here. So the second circle are people who are outside of your reach. They're beyond your reach. They're not on your lists. They're not following you. They're not part of you. And it's a new kind of radar you're getting on. When those people share it, when the second circle shares it, that's when you really know it's gone viral. That's the sharing on sharing. That's back to that metric we saw, is where it actually goes out there again. Okay? So that's where it went viral, is going to be the second circle sharing it, because then that's the third circle, and it's starting to reach people that you cannot reach from people that you cannot reach. And that's truly, truly what viral is sharing content unconditionally. Now, viral doesn't have to mean 32 million reach or 3.4 million views over 10 seconds. Viral can be 50 people, because it's not about the quantity. And anybody who's older than 1 year old has getting tired of hearing the term, quality over quantity and everything else. But it really is true. The problem in viral is we get in our heads that something isn't successful because it hasn't hit X artificial metric, if we're going to be honest with you. And I think most metrics are artificial. We pick just ones because they're nice round numbers. I like to get 1 million views. And I'd be like, why? Well, I want to get 1 million views because it sounds good, and it does. It does sound good. 1 million views does sound good, and that's great. But okay, then what? Are we moving a needle? Maybe your goal with a video is just to affect people. Maybe your goal is to be able to reach out and emotionally lift them up. Maybe that's your thing. Okay. But we want to make sure that if our goal is to lift the world up, that we're also being able to reach the world. And one of those things that happens is we don't look at our content based on that second circle. We look at our content with the only thing we know is our own eyes. And that's one of the problems, is because we have all these things vested in our head that we know. Like, I know that bit's going to turn. We're going to flip it. It's going to be funny. I know that. But I need to put those letterboxing over there as well. So Michael, he says from Facebook, he says, would it be possible that the trailer video got people interested looking you up and seeing the viral video, which might have influenced their interest that started with the trailer but got solidified by seeing that? Yeah, he can get viral. We want to do that as well. Yeah, Michael, that is a great post. I'm not focusing on pulling the questions up on the screen right now, so ignore. I usually would, but I'm going to 6 different channels right now, and I'm just trying to see how it all works out. Okay. And yes and no, Michael. There are other benefits to that video going to viral, and I 100% agree with you. It's just the problem is we make these case studies that are like, this has happened and now look, and that's not necessarily the case. People saw the video. It also helps solidify the decision if they are already thinking about bringing me into something and they shared it, and maybe the direct connection wasn't that way. So it's more of a loose type of thing that I'm looking at here. But you're right, because they all do complement each other, because you never know. Once you see somebody, you're like, oh, maybe I'm going to go see that. Maybe I'm going to go. And they start going down that discovery kind of chain there as well. So thank you. And hello to the people I've seen in the content. Thank you for that. To everybody who's commented on all different platforms so far, from Preet and Denise and Gary, Eric, Karen, Carrie, Travis, Oliver, Lisa, Christina, Dean, Mark, Petrus, Michael, Denise, and Stacy. Thank you all so far for commenting and saying hi. I appreciate that. Anyway, so I hope this helps you. We hope to, Alice and I hope to start bringing you some content coming out on platforms like this. This is one of the reasons why we're getting the reps in now, and I'm testing out the system and how it all works. And Scott says, happy Canada Day to Scott and Allison. Hope to hear you again soon, and we hope so as well. We'll be coming back with the show soon, and in different ways, and we're hopefully coming out in video as well. So it's good, and we're going to be able to have some fun with this and make it all work. And happy Canada Day to my fellow Canadians. Happy Wednesday to everybody else in the world. If it's a Wednesday in your time zone, I'm just thinking in my head of all the time. We should be pretty close to that in most places. So again, thank you all for coming on today. This was a kind of a quicker test with everything else, so I appreciate that. And we'll see you for the next one. And Mark, the last one, are you guys still doing the podcast? Yeah, we put it on hold when COVID hit, and I'm working on what we're doing to come back in the show as well. I'm the only people that love it more than you, the listeners, is Allison and I doing it. So we just want to do it right and come back with the right amount, the right way to do it, and the right topics to finish. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.